Hi class, today I'm going to be teaching about Japanese American internment during World War II. This happened between 1942 and 1945 after the United States entered World War II following the attack on Pearl Harbor. During this time, the government forced around 120,000 people of Japanese ancestry, most of whom were American citizens, to leave their homes and live in internment camps. In this lesson, I'm going to explain what led to this decision, what life was like inside the camps, and why historians still debate this event today. I'm also going to connect it to issues we see in the world now, like civil rights and national security. To understand internment, we need to look at what was happening in the world at the time. World War II started in 1939 in Europe, but the United States didn't enter the war until December 7th of 1941, when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. This attack caused a lot of fear and anger in the United States. After Pearl Harbor, many Americans became suspicious of anyone who was Japanese or of Japanese ancestry, even if they were U.S. citizens. There was a widespread belief, although not supported by strong evidence, that Japanese Americans may be spies or loyal to Japan. In 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed an executive order 9066. This order allowed the military to remove people of Japanese descent from the West Coast and place them in internment camps. It is important for us to understand that this decision was not based on proven disloyalty, but mostly on fear, racism, and wartime panic. So what exactly was internment? Japanese Americans living on the West Coast were given very little time to prepare. Families were told they were leaving their homes but could only bring what they could carry. Many were forced to sell their homes, businesses, and belongings quickly, often causing them to lose a lot. They were transported to remote camps located in isolated areas like deserts or rural land. These camps were surrounded by fences, guard towers, and armed soldiers. Even though many people inside were U.S. citizens, they were treated as potential enemies of the state. This is a key point. Citizenship did not protect them from being removed from their homes. So you may be wondering what life was like inside of these internment camps. Well, life inside the camps was very difficult. Families were often housed in small wooden barracks that offered very little privacy. Many people had to share communal bathrooms and dining halls. The camps were very overcrowded and the conditions were very uncomfortable, especially in extreme weather like desert heat or cold winters. Despite these conditions, people tried to build some sense of normal life. Schools were set up for the children, and some adults worked jobs for very low wages within the camps. Still, many people struggled emotionally because they had lost their homes, their freedoms, and their sense of security. One important thing for us to understand is that even though life continued in some regular ways inside these camps, it was still a very forced confinement, so people were not there by choice. So Japanese internment ended in 1945 after World War II was over and Japan surrendered. Many people were released and they returned to find that their homes had been lost and their farms and their businesses. In many cases, they had to rebuild their lives from absolutely nothing. Decades later, the U.S. government formally acknowledged that internment was wrong, and in 1988, the Civil Liberties Act was passed. This issued a formal apology and provided financial compensation to any surviving Japanese Americans who were interned. This shows that even governments can later recognize mistakes they made during times of fear and crisis. So you may be wondering how this event connects to modern day. Well, this event connects to today because it raises important questions about how governments treat people during their times of fear and pressure. After major events like wars or terrorist attacks, societies can sometimes make decisions that target specific groups based off ethnicity, religion, or nationality. Japanese American internment is often used as an example when discussing civil liberties, immigration policy, and national security today. It makes us think about the question, How do we balance safety with protecting people's rights? Okay, so now we're going to do a quick activity to help you understand how people might have experienced this situation. I'm going to give you some scenarios and I want you to think about what would happen or why you think it's fair. So, scenario number 1. You are a Japanese American citizen in 1942. Do you think you would be forced into a camp?
Yes, because Japanese citizens were put into camps regardless of their citizenship.
That's true. Even citizenship did not protect people from being relocated. Scenario number 2. Let's say you are a German American during World War II. Do you think that you would be treated the same way?
Probably not, because they were not treated as unfairly as the Japanese citizens.
That's true. German and Italian Americans were monitored but not mass incarcerated to the same extent as Japanese Americans. Scenario number 3. If you had to leave your business for just a few days, what do you think would likely happen to it?
It'd probably be sold off pretty quickly or lost.
That's exactly right. Many families lost their property and wealth because they had no time to protect it. And last one, scenario number 4. Should the government compensate families after the war?
I would say so, because a lot of them were treated really unfairly and lost their houses and farms as well.
Yes, and in 1988, the U.S. government officially apologized and provided compensation through the Civil Liberties Act. Okay, to wrap up my lesson today, Japanese American internment during World War II was a major event in the U.S. that shows how fear and wartime pressure can lead to the violation of civil rights. While it was justified at the time as a mass security measure, most historians agree that it was heavily influenced by racism and panic rather than evidence. I chose this topic because it shows how history is not just about the past, it also helps us understand how governments and society make decisions today. One of the most challenging parts about learning this topic was understanding how quickly fear can override justice even in a democratic society.